Now we actually have another guy coming up who I also met through the FemCare business, but he's going to talk about very different things today.
Yeah, I'm talking about starting in the FemCare business. Now, I just graduated. Well, actually, I grew up in India, and somehow I ended up in Procter & Gamble in Schwalbach. I still remember standing in the reception, waiting for someone to pick me up, and this lady comes in and says, "Come on, you're joining the Always brand." And I had no clue what Always brand was. So I still couldn't figure it out. So anyway, got into that, and I had no idea how to explain this to my mother. And I still haven't. But anyway, Uta kindly asked me to speak about communicating digitally to our consumers. And I'll try my best. And I promise I'll only do the objective truth. After a decade back, I left P&G, and I ended up with BBC. I have no idea how. I have no right to be in BBC, but I learned a lot about communication. I was part of the digital team that was tasked to take this organization, this public service media organization, into the digital world. And I must say, we succeeded, because today BBC is considered one of the leading digital media, leading organization in the digital media space, with its websites, with iPlayer, etc. 3 years back, I left and joined a UK telco company, which sold access to internet, mobile, TV. And for a company that sold access to internet, it hardly used the internet, generally. And the CEO's mission to me was make this company online. In the last 3 years, I've taken the sales, the percentage of sales was in single digit, a very low single digit. And today it's at least 12 times more than that. And our contacts with our customers have gone from less than 1/3 to more than 70%. It has been a wonderful journey. And I'll try to share some of my own learnings from there. Interestingly, the staff in all these organizations are young internet natives. You know, they shop on the internet, they chat on the internet, they date on the internet, etc. They are genuine online customers. But something happens when they walk through the turnstiles into the company. They become extremely offline. Something changes, and it's amazing. It's amazing to actually watch that. Because I speak to them, and I ask them what they do in their lives, and it's so digital. But inside the company, when they come, and in the conversations about actually communicating to our own customers digitally, there's a huge pushback. No, our customers are different. They're older. They like to talk. They like to come into the shops. You know, we are different. We are successful. Why change? Yeah. And interestingly, in all these conversations, there's one character that comes up. My mother, not my mother, but their mother. My mother would never watch television on a laptop. And our customers are like my mother. They would never buy it on a computer. They would always love to talk. They would love to go into a shop. They would never do anything online, even though they're buying online from us. And it became my mission to actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delight their mothers. I'm going to connect with their mothers. I'm going to win their hearts and minds of their mothers. And when I have done that, I know that I've won. And I've always started actually with the P&G basics, everything that we learned at P&G. Consumer understanding, consumer insights, getting the right idea, the powerful idea, and telling authentic stories that connect, that translate that ideas to our consumers. That still applies digitally. Those fundamentals still apply. The only thing that change are the tools we use, the amount of data that we have. Actually, one of the interesting things about online is the amount of sheer data that is created. And people who can actually sift through the data are going to be the winners. So that still remains in the online space, and I have used that consistently. But there are other things on top about communicating with our online customers. Transparency. The internet was built on openness. And even today, you can go to any website, almost any website, except the DoD, and you can actually see the website, all the source code. You can take the source code. When I tell this and show this to people, people get amazed. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you hide it? But the culture of internet is about openness. And our consumers also demand that openness because they can get information today by just within a couple of clicks. They can get any information they want. And they are demanding that same level of openness from our brands, from our companies. And if companies and brands become open, transparent, there's honesty in that relationship with our consumers. And with this honesty, there's trust. And the trust means success. I'm on a mission to make sure, within my company, to make sure our consumers, our customers, know as much about themselves, their accounts, their services, etc., as anyone else in our company. They should know more, in fact. If our service is done, our customers should know first. If our service is done and we screwed up, our customers should know all the details. If we screwed up and we're going to fix it, and when we're going to fix it, our customers should know. And every time we have done that, I've seen our customers are more satisfied, actually. Even if we screw up, they're more satisfied, and there's more trust, and there's more, they stay with us longer. Now, opening up the kimono is a scary thought for most organizations. And a lot of part of the companies, the managers, etc., they are used to holding the data, holding the information. Information is power. And they're scared about the quality of that information. So in conversations I have within the company, it goes something like, why are you doing this? Why not? It might be wrong. I said, that's brilliant, because when you put the wrong information in front of consumers, we will find out. And it's always been wrong, by the way. If we find out, we will fix it. By fixing it, we will be a better company, and our relationship with our consumers will be much better. I strongly and passionately believe that the more open and the more transparent relationship you have with your consumers, better it will be, and the trust and the consumers will be more forgiving of you. And also, interestingly, that honesty and transparency can be useful in actually making your product proposition better. One of my favorite mobile apps in London is the Halo app. If anyone is from London, they know that. It's a simple, all I'm doing is ordering a taxi. But what they have done is, on top of that, they show you every taxi that's nearby. They show you exact time, and they show you the taxi that you've ordered coming to you. You can actually, it's actually quite compelling. You just watch the taxi driver coming to you, and then give you the details of the taxi driver, his photograph, and once you've taken the taxi, they send you a thank you note, they send you the receipt, etc. You know, if you look at it, all I've done is taken the taxi. But the information around it has made it such a compelling service that even when they screw up, and they have screwed up a couple of times recently, I'm forgiving. I'm generous, because they have opened their books and they've basically said, this is what's happening, guys. So I strongly believe in the world of digital, our consumers demand honesty and transparency from us, and the brands and the companies that actually recognize it and do it will win. Second one is, and most of you are aware of it, in the world of digital, our consumers play an active role in product development, research, marketing, and increasingly financing. Quite interesting. Our consumer, in P&G, we've always done this. We've taken concepts to concept labs, pilots, test markets, etc. And that continues in the world of digital. The only difference is the intensity and the scale is very different, because you can now create products and concepts with hundreds of thousands of consumers. You can actually start, and a lot of in the internet world, a lot of the companies, in fact, are starting with a germ of idea. They throw it in the space, get the consumers to feedback, and then start development of the product and the brands in the public space. In fact, I'm doing some very similar, where I've just taken the core proposition and thrown it, and getting the feedback and getting ideas and building it as the ideas come. It is frightening, but it's also very exciting. Getting your consumers right at the beginning of your idea and through the product development. They want to be part of your marketing. I mean, making consumers your marketeer is the best and the easiest and the cheapest way. But our consumers are also not stupid. They're only going to market things that they really do want to market. So going into social media on its own is not going to work. It has to be an idea that is good enough to be social. Consumers want a part of a financing. If anyone has looked at Kickstarter, if not, please have a look at the website. It's compelling. I mean, ideas, whether for a movie, for a book, for a game, for technology, consumers are going into you can actually pitch your idea. Consumers can take part. They finance you with 5 quid, 10 quid. They actually give you ideas to improve it. And people get $10,000 I saw this morning, I just looked it up. There was a film, I think they got $4.5 million. There was a game, $10 million. So our consumers are taking part in the financing, and it's fascinating. Simplicity, I love this photograph. I have a very low attention span. I'm highly lethargic, maybe some would say on the way to dementia. But I love simplicity with a passion. The good thing is our customers do too. Every time you make a simpler product, you communicate better with the customers, and you win with the customers. But for some reason, even though our customers love simplicity, organizations love complexity. It's sometimes my sport in the evening when I'm bored is going to a website and figuring out the org structure of companies by the websites, because you can see the website. In fact, a few weeks back, I asked, you laugh, but it's true. I asked my agency to take one of the companies, I won't mention the name of the company, because they were doing a lot of mobile apps. I said, do an audit of the apps and just put it together. They had around 26 apps. They have 26 apps on the mobile space. And believe me, on a chart, it represented their org structure. Every part of the org had created an app, and there was no navigation between that. Consumers suffer. There was really no navigation because they didn't talk to each other. And you can see websites that are created by committees. You can see that, that's where the marketing person put their input. That's where the legal person put their input. It frustrates me. In fact, I have a brilliant team. But the things, when they lose simplicity, it just drives me mad. And I try to look at the website and give the feedback in the morning, because if I do it in the afternoon, I go home a very grumpy man. So simplicity rules. Please, if any of you are creating a website, have a role in the website, please go for simplicity. Make it simple. Consumers love you for it. And please don't ask for registration if you don't have to. There is absolutely no need for registration. Or getting information, or form filling when there's absolutely no need. Mobile, Tim has already spoken about it. Mobile is good not because the devices are pretty, but it's the closest thing people have to a personal. And it is increasingly, if you want to communicate to our consumers, you got to go mobile first. Forget about every other device. You've got to go mobile first, because that is a personal device. And the devices might change, but the information in those mobile devices will carry on through that. So, how am I doing with the mothers? I'm actually winning with some, not with everyone. In fact, I've gone back and checked with some of the people I had conversation with and check whether their mothers are using it. I'm glad to say they are. In fact, some of them converted now, the completely digital evangelist. In fact, I get emails. I got an email last night from someone about experience their father-in-law was having. And I love those emails because that shows a different generation, how they're using my products. And even when they point out problems, it's brilliant. Because we will make it easier. So anyway, but this is, winning with the consumers. Winning with the consumers and communicating with the consumers in the digital space is only half the story. In fact, it's less than half the story. I think anyone with a Procter & Gamble experience would find it relatively easy to do that. The difficult bit is winning with your own company, the organization, because shifting from 30, 40% to 100% requires the entire change in the organization. Now that's a huge speech, and I can spend a whole afternoon on that, so I'm not going to spend time on it, but just some very basics. You got to get the talent. Getting good digital talent is extremely difficult. Just imagine taking everything that you require for a Procter & Gamble person, and on top of that, domain skills, on top of that understanding and a passion for technology, bringing all of them together, very difficult. But you've got to have that. Change objectives, best way of changing behavior, change objectives. Systems. Most companies, if you're existing offline companies, I can bet most of your systems are completely screwed up. And you've got to fix the systems. You've got to simplify the system. That's the only way you can actually go completely online. And the cultural, deep change in the culture, very difficult. But it takes time. It is possible. It is doable. If you win with the best thing is win with the customers. Win with the consumers gives you the credibility to actually win with your own company. That's been my experience. And once you do that, all the mothers would be on my side. Thank you.